Okay, so hi, welcome. Stop by saying some announcements. I have a talk next week in Totnes, and you can find that on the non-duality Totnes page. So I won't be doing a broadcast here next week because I'll be driving back from Totnes. Then I have a talk in Brighton on the 25th of March. And then I have a talk in Manchester on the 7th of May. And you can find out about that on Non-Duality Manchester, also on Facebook. Or if you need any other details, you can contact me on my website, which is lisalennonnonduality.com. And what else? Yeah, you can find there how you can get private Skypes with me. And there's also a donate page there if people are feeling like donating. Because I don't charge for these talks. And sometimes I give Skype talks for reduced prices for those who can't afford it. What else? Yeah, I think that's it. Excuse me. Oh yeah, and if you want to ask questions, you can ask them in the YouTube chat. Not really taking Skype calls during the talk. I feel like the flow is much better with the written questions. But if you really want to Skype me, you can just put a request in there and I'll turn Skype on. So, non-duality. There's no meaning to the word non-duality. It points to that which has no meaning. It points to that which cannot have meaning because it is already everything appearing, and you can't pinpoint what that is. You can't find the beginning of it or the end of it. You can't find any part of it. You can't find any part of what's appearing, because all there is what's happening. And I'm sure you hear that all the time, but that's the case. It's the case, and all there is just sitting and speaking and listening, happening. Bodies happening, thoughts happening, feelings happening. That's the entirety of everything that is. It is eternal, and it's not an eternal moment because that suggests that it's going in time. It's so indescribably appearing out of nothing. You cannot find the origin of what is appearing because it doesn't have an origin. It doesn't have a place where it's coming from. It's so indescribably everything. It's so indescribably nothing and everything. It's everything, but it isn't anything in particular. And what seems to happen in the human is that the human looks for it. It looks for this. And the only thing that's covering over what actually is here, what is actually really here, is the looking for it. And there's nothing that can be done about that, of course, because that's the appearance. That's life appearing as somebody looking for it. And it seems to think that it's something else that isn't here. It seems to think that it has to experience this. It can't imagine everything that is, all that is, which is what's happening, without knowing it, without experiencing it. But you don't need someone to know that there is space or there is light. You can't look at the light and then say, well, you can. You can't look at the light and say, Now I have to know the light. Who's seeing the light? Where is this one that's seeing the light? Somebody surely has to see the light coming from the screen or the bulb or whatever, sky. But that's not the case, is it? It's just appearing. It's just appearing out of nothing. It's nothing appearing as light and dark and sound. And it's not a quality. It's not a quality, or it's not a thing. It's not a thing that can be found because it's already the case. It's already everything that is. This sense of me is like this illusory veil that is looked through, seems to be looked through, for this analogy, of course, seems to be looked through. Hi, Joe Plugs. And it's a screen that seems to be overlaid onto the experience of being somebody that's looking through this filter of experiencing that I am here, that I have to find it, that I have to know it, that I have to get rid of myself. It's a never-ending wheel. Maybe that's what the Buddhists mean when they say the never-ending wheel of karma. Maybe it's not about birth and death at all. Maybe it's about the eternal chase of the me trying to find itself. Until somehow there's a possibility of that whole illusory construct just being totally dismantled. When it's dismantled, all that's left is what's happening. Without anybody knowing it, without anybody experiencing, without anybody. There isn't anybody. I don't see other me's. I see other people saying they have a me, but I don't see other me's. There are no me's. There's no people. There's just the appearance of humans living this life. And the freedom is the living of the life without anybody. It's free. It is free. Everything's free to be as it is. There's no control over it. There's nobody that can do anything in it. That's the illusion. It's the illusion of I'm doing it. I have to do it. I have to control it. I have to make it better. I have to have the final, eternal, oh, that's better. There isn't, it's none of that. It's total boundless freefall where nothing can be grasped and got hold of and kept for me. Nobody can experience this because it's already story. Yeah, that's all a story. The me is a story, but it's an energetic experience. It's not a thought. I mean, thoughts arise, but there's a whole reality called me that just looks from this me perspective at everything, and it can't see a way out of it, and it can't find a way out of it because it is not real. It is not real. It's not the life. It's life appearing as separation. And from the me experience, it's really uncomfortable and really real. Well, not for everyone, more or less, more in others than in some. But all humans with that illusory sense of self seek all the time, whether it's in spirituality, non-duality, relationships, whatever, anything, careers. It's all about feeling better. It's all about feeling complete, that knowing something, feeling something's not right, something's missing. when nothing's missing. What could be missing? The me doesn't even know what's missing. It can't even pinpoint what's missing. Can't find it. Can't find the missing thing. It only knows that something's missing and it's searching for it. And it hears about non-duality, so it thinks there's something in it for it. It thinks there's something, not everyone, of course, but I suspect that most people who go to non-duality see that there's something in it, but there's nothing in it for the sense of self. It's pointing to the fact that the sense of self is just illusory. It disappears when you go to sleep. It's not even really there when you wake up. It kind of comes in a bit later, either seconds, minutes, or hours. It's in and out during the day. It's more or less. It's not a constant. Not really. And then what happens is that sense of self cannot be there, and then there's a, do you feel more alive? No. There's no feeling of being anything. There is only aliveness. There is only aliveness. It's just this aliveness. It without that sense of looking for it, what is revealed is everything is already as it is, and it's alive. It's alive. Everything is alive. But not in the sense of what we think it, what the human thinks it is. Not alive as in the fact that it feels alive, because that's a perspective from the sense of separation, that there's a feeling of it being alive. It just is alive. But there's no perspective of anyone feeling alive. It's so beyond the feeling of being alive. It's totally indescribable. And it's not special in the way that the sense of self feels it is. It just is the natural state. It is the natural. It is natural. I mean, the sense of self is natural as well, but it doesn't see. It doesn't see what is as it really is. It sees it from a state of separation. Lean back a bit. My back's a bit sore today. Bed's a bit dodgy. It's actually beyond beautiful. Indescribable aliveness. And it isn't for anyone, and that's what can't be seen by the sense of self. It wants to see it. It wants to see it, and it can't. Because it is the aliveness condensed down into a narrow perspective. And that is the aliveness too, but from its perspective, it doesn't feel like it. And that can be very frustrating, especially for the seeker, especially the spiritual seeker or the non-duality seeker. But what is exploding constantly as this. It's like it just arises out of nothing constantly, without it being constantly. It's like constantly being the Big Bang, just, and then falling out and coming in all simultaneously. And you can't find the beginning and end to that. It just, as soon as that starts to be seen by no one, the sense of self feels very threatened by that because it can't survive in it. Hi, Josie. Oh, hi, Ella. Didn't see your hearts up there. Thank you. Hi, Lisa. Here there seems to be a perpetual expectation for a liberation, yet I know what it is. Seems frustrating, yes. Yeah, because the sense of self thinks that liberation will be seen by it. And it can be frustrating. It's waiting for something to happen to it. When liberation, there isn't liberation. Nobody gets liberated. It doesn't happen for anybody. There isn't, everybody's already liberated. Just there is an appearance that there is no liberation. That's the trick. Tony Parsons said it's wild and free. Yeah, it's totally wild and free. It's absolutely inexplicably impossible to pin anything down. Try it. Try and pin anything down. It's just try and find the source of where everything's appearing, the floor and the space, and just appearing out of nothing. It is everything and nothing. Dinosaurus Rex. I've been experiencing a vibration type feeling in the head for a while now. It's very uncomfortable. Do these type of energetic sensations have anything to do with the deconstruction of the person? Well, really, it's just a happening. There can be energetic sensations that happen when this person starts to dismantle or loosen. That can happen, yeah. I mean, it doesn't mean anything, though. It doesn't mean anything. It doesn't mean that anything is closer or further away, because there is nothing that's closer to this or further away from this. But that can happen, yeah. I mean, I remember here I had to lie in bed and kick my legs at night. Quite regularly. Like swimming in bed. Didn't mean anything. It just meant there was an excess of energy in the body that needed to be dispelled. Ella, I thought I knew what me is. Now I can't tell what in the world that is. Not even I can be pinned down, actually. It's mostly a conviction going along with body-mind perceptions. Yeah, I mean, it's just looking for this sense of me. It can be experienced, but it can't be, the source of it can't be found because it doesn't have a source, because nothing has a source. The source is everything, but it's not coming from anywhere. It's beyond description. Yeah. Yeah, and the knowing of what a me is just knowing, thinking, knowing what a me is. Not knowing what a me is that too. It's the same. Everything that is happening is it. Everything. Nothing is closer to this. There's nothing here that's closer to this than an apparent person thinking they're far from this. Because the thing is that the whole of life is everything that is happening. The whole of it. And it can't be pinned down. As soon as there's a thought that pins it down, it's lost. Everything is lost. Everything is totally and constantly being lost. Absolute free fall. And the sense of me wants to hold on to it because that's how it appears. It appears as a grasping, clinging, energetic experience. And nothing knows this. There's not anything here that knows what this is. There's nothing here that knows what's even being said. It's nothing speaking, the same as it's nothing hearing. It's the same thing. The speaking and the computer and the hearing and the sensations and the room and everything are the same energy. I say energy because there's no real word for it. You can't escape from what's happening. Well, there is no you to escape it. That's right. And no, what's happening is, well, that can't stop happening. This is it. This is it. As Lisa Cairns would say, she says it's like, this is it. Love that. No, but the sense of self cannot escape this, and it cannot escape itself. It's another appearance. It's no more different appearance than the sky. But at the same time, it can be deconstructed. But nobody can do that. But it's the possibility that that reality, that apparent reality, can be deconstructed. And then there's nothing left. Just what was always here. Just what was really apparent all along. You can never find anything that wasn't this. It's always this. It's always here. It's God, it's just impossible. Miraculous. Weird. And insane for the sense of self. The sense of self would see this as utterly insane because it's just beyond its experience. It's beyond the comprehension of that experience. The sense of self cannot grasp anything that's beyond its sense, its apparent sense of experience. It experiences itself as real and experiences everything else as real. And in time, it always lives in the next moment. Eckhart says, don't try to escape it. Well, yeah, he may say that, yeah. I wouldn't really tell that to somebody myself because it suggests that to that sense of self that it has to then not try and escape it, which is just as much a doing as trying to escape it. It's the same doing, really. It's a kind of it can turn into a practice that it's like trying to stay in the now. It's just a concept of trying to stay in a conceptual now. It can't actually be done because this is so much in free fall that nothing stays, nothing is permanent in that way. Hi, Josie. Lisa, I'm wondering if being more relaxed would help the liberation, or is that just a story? Yeah, it's just a story. Because then it'd still be a sense of self being relaxed. But being relaxed is always better than not being relaxed. Nothing really helps because nothing really helps. Hi, Jerome. Nothing helps that contracted experience of being me. What seems to happen, and I say this very cautiously, is that something else, not something else, but there is a recognition that that sense of self is not real, and that is not sensed or known, or there's no word for it really, by that self. It's like there can be a glimpse of life without that experience of separation. But you'll find that in that glimpse of no separation, that nobody was there to know it. But then what happens, that that sense of self can come back in because it's a really clingy program going on, really clingy program that will come back in because of it will feel fear. So it's always one or the other. There's not less me. Less me can appear, but it's still the sense of me. And then it can be just vanish. Flying tomorrow morning for Rishikesh. Cool. Have a great time. Please give my love to Ananta, if he's there, and the rest of the people that I know. It was seen here very briefly, then came back full boom. Yeah, because that sense of self, that energetic experience, and it's the weirdest thing, that energetic experience, because it feels so real. And it's just an apparent experience. When it comes back, and then it's just full on me. Yeah, because that glimpse has happened. Yeah. And to the sense of self, it's terrifying because it can't get hold of it, can't know it. And then it just falls away again and comes back, and there's the flippy, floppy, apparent happening, which is life appearing as that. There's nothing actually happening. There's nothing going anywhere. But it appears to happen that way. Yeah. Yeah, and I see it more and more. You know, I speak to lots of people. Don't think things into existence. I don't know what that means, sorry. Think things into existence. Well, nobody could do that anyway, because this one is illusory. No, an illusory appearance can't think things into existence. There isn't anybody existing. There's nothing actually existing as a real thing. Because soon as it's apparently felt like it's got hold of, like, oh yeah, I know this, it slips away. This appearance slips away constantly. And this is the problem, is this sense of self tries to get hold of it, and it can't, because it's just like constant running water. It just can't get hold of it. Death and birth all at once. Maybe that's what that snake, that round snake eating its own tail. I've just thought that's what that means. This is birth and death all at once. It's that symbol is not about time. It's about, well, this is what it means here, that this is no beginning and no end. There's no end to it. There's no beginning to it. You can't find it. It's impossible. It can only be found as a thought, and that's it too. I think some people say that snake thing is about reincarnation. I don't really know. It's a symbol of eternity, I think. Yeah. Yeah, but it's like it's eating its own tail before it knows it's even eating its own tail. It's just so beyond time. And that can be got intellectually, of course. Yeah, but that doesn't help. I think. I don't know. I don't know. Oh, I'm moving to Spain. I meant to say that at the beginning. I'm moving to Spain. For a few weeks the myth talks will be a little hit and miss, because I don't know if I'll have internet on time, and so you'll see a completely different backdrop. Maybe I'll do it on the roof terrace. I have a house, and it has this beautiful roof terrace that looks over the mountains, the mountain range. So maybe I'll see if I can do the talks outside if it's light with the mountains behind me. That would be really nice. Yeah, and I may even do some mini retreats there. I was thinking of maybe doing like kind of intense short retreats with just a few people. Yesterday and tomorrow. Well, they're just either thoughts or words on the computer. They don't mean anything. Yesterday and tomorrow has no meaning. They're just thoughts. I mean, they have meaning in the story, you know. Yeah, I want to come visit you. Yay! I'd love that, to have like maybe no more than 6 people, for like 3 days, and we just like really get stuck into it for no reason. Wonderful. Yeah, so I might do that. I know of a really nice house not far from mine where I stayed when I was looking for for a house, and it's a big house. And how many rooms have I got? Kind of 3.5, but I have no air conditioning, so maybe autumn. So I've got my double room. I have another double room, which is my daughter's, but she won't be living there, most likely. And I have another little room, a single room, and I have a kind of a broken down room that needs doing up, which I might make into an art studio. But there is somewhere I know that rents out rooms really cheaply in this beautiful big house with a pool and everything. So I'll see what happens. Yeah. And it's up in the mountains, so it's really beautiful up there. Yeah, I know. I'll have to buy one of those little machines and get some fans. I've been to India in the summer a few times. I'm sure it can't be as bad as India. Yeah. Just get some fans, that'll be fine. We'll see. You see me rushing down this high street to get an AC. Yeah. So that might be good. That might be good to do that. I think that would be really cool, actually. Intense intensives. And this is a story, but when 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 you're in the energy of this message, a lot, especially if there's glimpses happening and toing and froing, you know, the seeing, not seeing, and being and being and all that, it can seem to I'm not going to say help, because that's not, because it doesn't help anybody, it doesn't help the person at all, but it does appear to dismantle that construct, kind of clarify it somehow. That's just the way it apparently appears. Who knows why? Nobody knows why. There isn't anyone to know why. It just seems to be like that. Like it seems to be that the sun rises in the morning, and birds fly in the sky. The me seems to dismantle. And none of it is for anybody. It's life's life. It's not my life. How wonderful is that? This is life's life. It doesn't belong to anybody. This is life's sky. This is life's human experience. This is life's space and floor and breath. And in the story of Lisa, nobody's moving to Spain. Nobody signed the contracts and went on the aeroplane. Those are just things that apparently happened. Nobody's going to be living in Spain, really. It'll just be this appearing as Spain. Just be this appearing as someone called Lisa without a job, living in the mountains. Yeah. It can appear as anything. Nobody's doing it. It's not affecting anyone. It just, this sense of self feels like it's affecting me. It's affecting me. I need it to work out in the right way. I just turned that off. Excuse me. Oh my God, all my machines are going off. Stop, stop, stop. I love technology. I've got a lot of it around me. It's all a bit broken, but I love it. Can't remember what I was saying. It's God calling. Yeah. So brilliant. Ah, so unpredictable, so out of control, so wild. This one that thinks it's choosing to do things or not do things and hoping and longing and grasping and feeling and everything is also wild. It's really an amazing appearance. Spontaneous. Yeah, utterly. Yeah, nothing ever happened. It's all this. Just this. Absolutely untouchable. Because there isn't anybody to touch it, or know it, or experience it. Because the sense of self lives in experience, it's an appearance of experience. So it can only know, it can only see from that perspective of experience. So when it's seeking, it can only seek for an experience. It doesn't know anything but experience. And when that sense of self is not there, even for a second, the experience is gone. There's no experience left. That is terrifying for the sense of self. So it rushes back in, trying to grab hold of some sort of experience. Yes, thought comes here like, not know me. Yeah, it can only know experience. Well, no, nothing's getting in the way. It was just reading the, sorry, sometimes I forget to read. Forget that people are going to watch later. Words get in the way. Well, no, not really, because the words are it, the silence is it, the space is it, the light is it, the body is it, everything is it. That would mean that that means that it would get in the way of somebody, but there isn't anybody for anything to get in the way of. To me, it's just an appearance. Me is life, appearing as a me. Gmail, why do speakers say that somebody's enlightened? Somebody's enlightened is everybody's enlightenment. Somebody's enlightenment is everyone's enlightenment. That sounds like a personal enlightenment to me. There is either total liberation for everything or no liberation. Somebody's enlightened. No, somebody can't be enlightened. It's the end of somebody who can be enlightened. Freedom is the end of liberation. The freedom is the freedom from enlightenment. Enlightenment gives the impression that somebody can be enlightened. That's the illusion that I will become enlightened. Because they see it's all enlightened. Yes. Well, nobody's seeing that. It actually is all life. Life is already free. It doesn't need to be made free. It doesn't need to be known as free or seen as free. There doesn't need to be any awareness of freedom. It is already free. So maybe that's what they mean. Somebody's enlightenment is everybody's enlightenment. Well, yeah, I understand. I understand it as Ella says it, but I think somebody's enlightenment, I'm very wary of those words. Yeah, it's just, yeah, and nobody's seeing that it's all enlightened. It just is boundless freedom. It doesn't need to be seen. There'd be no point in seeing it because it already is that. It's already done. It's already the case. Stories, and anyway, stories about other enlightened people are just stories. They're not this here now. There are thoughts happening in this. You can't find any truth in anything. Truth can't be found because there is no truth. There is only what's happening. There is only this. There's no truth in it. It means that something's not true. It's either all true or nothing's true. All free or not free. That just is all free. There's nobody who's free and there's nobody who's not free. It's just the appearance. It's just the drama of life. The drama of this life. I mean, incredible. Incredible that I'm even sitting on a floor. There's a body, Lisa, sitting on a floor with hair and a computer. And, and how does that appear? How does that appear? It's a constant surprise. It's surprising that this is even here at all. And then possibly the next minute, it's just making a cup of tea and watching some drama on television, or computer in my case. It's all the same thing. Indescribable. You can't even really call it wholeness because it's like there's no ness to it. There's nothing that can be described about what's happening. Okay, so I've got 10 minutes left. As usual, it's gone really fast. And you can't see from here, but behind me are all loads of boxes and packing stuff and just a complete chaos. And there's pictures gone off my wall, bits of blue tack on the wall, and Darth Vader's still there. Life appearing as chaos. So no questions. It's usually a good sign. It's wonderful when there's nothing left to ask. It's just like, it's just a stop. a just a hopelessness from the sense of self, just like, oh, I give up, even though I can't give up. But it can appear like this. So, what responsibility should one take interacting with life? Responsibility. Well, there's nobody taking responsibility anyway. Who would take responsibility or not take responsibility? The character is as it is. Like, just because there's no sense of self, it doesn't suddenly mean that someone can go, okay, there's no sense of self, I don't have to have any responsibility, I'm going to go and mug somebody on the street because I have no responsibility. It's not like that. In fact, in my experience, there seems to be kind of more kindness in some ways. That's a kind of that still comes from the sense of me, responsibility or no responsibility. There's no one can take responsibility. Most humans are generally kind. My experience, get the odd one, but generally kind, caring, considerate. I speak to people on Skype and all of them are really nice. And I can't imagine any of them going, okay, I have no me now, I'm going to go and be an idiot. Interaction with life is just what happens. There's already interaction with life without. The me always seems to come in after the event or during the event, or an interaction will start happening on its own because everything happens on its own. And then the sense of self will come in after the event and say, I'm interacting, I'm responsible, I'm not responsible. This is already interacting. Humans with humans, light with dark, heat with cold, space with things. It's all interacting on its own. It's life interacting. There's nothing that's needed to interact with life because it's already complete interaction, all happening at once. Totality. This one that thinks it can and can't do something, that is the illusion. It's not doing anything. It's not actually responsible or not responsible for anything. It imagines it takes responsibility or define, no, I wasn't responsible for that. It's actually powerless. It's actually not in control of anything. It's wonderful how this can appear as somebody who can think or think they're not in control or think they're responsible or not responsible. Life makes all these appearances and happenings, and then it also makes the appearance of a separate one who could be responsible or not responsible for it. The whole thing happening at once. Interaction, and then someone feeling responsible or not responsible, or thinking they should be responsible. direct experience. It is, but not for anybody. It's just what's happening, I think, is the closest. Just this is actually the closest. There is no words for life, even though I've just called it a word, but there's nothing that touches it. Even the sense of self, can't find the origin to anything except as a thought or an experience. And that's just life appearing as that, looking for a thought or looking for something. It's so incredibly complete. Okay, one last question and I'm gonna go have some dinner. A bit late, but there we go. And I won't be here next week. Okay, Gmail. How and why can life create lives that do not appreciate for themselves? Because it can. Because it does. Because it does. It life, and it isn't life creating it. It's so beyond that. So beyond it. Oh my God. Oh, voice is going today. I've been talking a lot today. Various people. There's no source to anything. This is the source, and it's the end, all at once. And you can't conceptualize that. I can't conceptualize it. It just is that way. Lee. Yeah, see you really soon. We should make an arrangement to meet up for that cup of tea. In Totnes. Ella. Love you, Lisa. Aw, thank you, Ella. Hard to believe that there is no you there. Yeah, and there's no you there either. Yeah. But there is this. Yeah, you don't need a you. You don't need a you to be you. Such a contradiction. You don't need a you to live. You don't need a you to be, to live, to love, to cry, to laugh, to get annoyed, to sing and dance and be, whatever. Kick a football, I don't know. You don't need a you for any of this. It's already the case. It's just so beyond me. Jerome, I will send your love to all the family. Thank you, please do. Thank you, Lisa from Canada. Oh, thank you, Josie. Okay, well, I'll hopefully see you in 2 weeks' time. I'm going to try and be as regular as I can, despite moving. Ella, yes, so true. Yeah. There are no yous. Everybody's just being what they are, thinking they're a me, but they're not. They're just being what they are, just totally free, totally free. So beautiful. What a beautiful thing. Oh, feeling so much love right now. Anyway, love you all. Mwah. See you soon. Bye.